Welcome to the Collector's Archive. I am the Vault Keeper. Identify.
Hello, everybody. I am Ben from Ben's Collectables.
Identity confirmed. Access granted. Switching to human interface.
I don't know. Right, here we go. How are we doing, Ben?
I'm really good, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks for asking. So, thanks for agreeing to take part in the Collector's Archive. Just before we start, do you want to just take a moment to introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself. Also, where you grew up, and I don't know if you want to just throw in some anecdotal memories or something like that, just to get the ball rolling.
Yeah. My name's Ben. You may or may not know I run Ben's Collectables, the YouTube channel, as well as Ben's KO Collectables, the kind of offshoot of Ben's Collectables. Grew up in and around the Ipswich area in Suffolk in the UK. And I do like myself some toys. They're my therapy. I see myself as a toy fosterer. I get some in, I show them some attention, and then pass them on to kind of brighter, greener fixtures.
Yeah.
Early memories. I remember picking up a Power Master Optimus Prime at a car boot sale. Don't know if places like American, they like yard sales, isn't it? It's the same, same sort of thing. But we have them all in the field, and people are selling out the boots of their cars. And I picked up. I dreamt about buying one, and I found one at a car boot sale. I miss car boot sales. You used to pick up some real bargains. You don't get it anymore. Everybody throws everything on eBay. And
yeah. So, growing up, what cartoons, TV shows, movies and things like that as a kid would you have been enjoying? After you've come back from the car boot sale.
Oh yeah, obviously we had Transformers. I had loads of them on VHS. What I didn't have, I would go and rent from the video store. We had a Tempo Video, was our local one, I think.
Right.
So, what else? We watched Inhumanoids, with Visionaries, Thundercats, He-Man, Turtles, Silverhawks. Oh wow, Jason the Wheeled Warriors. That was kind of getting on. I think we had Street Sharks. I'm sure sure that was on. So everything that's kind of just come back. It's that big revival again.
Yeah.
But what a time! The 80s was absolutely jam packed with awesome cartoons, and no cartoons today have those kind of ballad like the 80s rock ballads, like the Thundercats opening. It's like proper full on rock and
that's right. I mean, they were it was all in the theme tune. That's what got you. On the rug in front of the TV, to watching, like say the Thundercats, Ulysses, Jason the Wheel Warriors.
Yep.
A bit earlier was Battle of the Planets. I used to love Battle of the Planets. That's probably still one of my most favorite intros, for a cartoon. So there are quite a varied amount of cartoons there you were watching.
Yep.
As a kid. Yeah.
And GoBots as well.
Yeah, GoBots. Yeah. I think I didn't catch much GoBots, I must admit, but then again, I never caught much Transformers cartoon either. I mean, it was on the Wackaday and the Roland Rat thing, but the only small snippets. Didn't really catch it much. The most cartoons I watched as a kid really would have been, like I said, the Ulysses or Thundercats, Dungeons and Dragons. They were on at the tea time. When you got home from school.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes on a morning you didn't always get up, or you were up early and you're just out playing, so you didn't catch them. Oh, that's great. So you're on your rug in front of TV. What toys and games are you playing then?
I again I was a sucker for the franchises when I was sucked in. I would have my He-Man figures, my Castle Grayskulls, my Snake Mountain, my Slime Pit as well. I had my Thundercats, GI Joes as well, or
Right.
Action Force to begin with.
Yeah.
I used to have my old man's Action Men as well. I used to have Action Man, a few of those, which then obviously led me on to Action Force, which then led me on to GI Joes. Those were good. The Joes were good because you could watch TV and just have a good fit. You mess around with the toy. You could just be arming them up. And I used to have a lot of mask figures as well.
Right.
And I remember digging a trench in my garden. It went under, and then I made sure there was a support on top. And I used to just pass the vehicles under. I'd have like Boulder Hill on top, and chances are you get people that can like 3D print whole bases and that now, can't you? But for me, that was it. That was my hole in the garden, and that'd be my action scene. We'd go outside and we'd play, and I'd have some of the Joes out there as well, and they'd be crawling through the grass. But I think if I was sat in front of the telly, kind of zoning out, I think I had Hot Rod.
Right.
Was he the Target Master version? I think he was. Had him, Cup, and mainly kind of my Joes, and that's just Tiger Force Outback. That's what I had.
Right.
And Tunnel Rat.
Right.
Don't know if you collect. Did you collect Joes?
I had Action Force.
Yep.
There was that bit of a gap after Empire Strikes Back, before Return of the Jedi, where Action Force came out. I didn't have any of the first wave because they were like all the military style, So you had the Waffen, the German military, then you had the SAS and then the British Army officer and things. So I caught the second wave, which was your Baron Ironblood and your Black Mage, Red Shadows, SAS Force, and that. But I didn't have many. I had a few of those, mainly Z Force and SAS. I had a Baron Ironblood, but that was the only bad guy that I had. G.I. Joe wise, it was odd because when I look back now, all the G.I. Joe figures that I got were all ones that you could say looked like robots. So like Snake Eyes, there was Barbecue, there was, I want to call it Snow Serpent, but I don't know if it is Snow Serpent. It's the one that's like a snow gear with the crampons, and it's got like a black mask and a furry hood kind of thing. There was Eels, which was the Cobra Diver one. And what else was that? There was another one, but I can't think. I mean, like I mentioned Snake Eyes, didn't I? Snake Eyes, because he came with a little timber wolf.
Yep.
But that was it. I remember the day that I got Snake Eyes, because the same day I got a Starcom figure.
Oh, yeah, Starcom, cool, blimey.
Of all bizarre things, but that's all I ever had. I just remember being in this Toy Master in Falmouth down in Cornwall, and I got Snake Eyes, and I must have had a bit of pocket money left or whatever, and I just picked this Starcom figure up. I think they weren't very big. They're magnetic feet.
Yeah, they were similar sorts of, what was it, Dino Riders? They're a similar sort of size to those, weren't they? Or were they smaller than?
Oh, you know something? I couldn't tell you. I remember seeing Dino Riders on the shelf, but it was never anything that I kind of like, gravitated towards. Same as Mask. I never gravitated towards Mask. I had cousins that had them. I mean, they open a Mask catalogue and there was very few things on the page that they didn't have. They were quite lucky. But I was always, when I'd go around to their house and if I was playing with them, I'm not saying that there were, but there was something about them that felt like they could be quite fragile.
Yeah.
Especially some of the way the things connected. Like I think was it Rhino, the little thing that went at the back.
Oh yeah, but I think most collections ended up with junk. I mean, they were designed to be played with, weren't they? But the hinges weren't overly robust, and I don't think many of them would pass any kind of drop test or anything anymore. Just gone.
Yeah, it's like smashing them together and things like that.
That's how you play.
Yeah, but I just want to go back to one point about you saying playing in the garden. That's a memory I have in our front garden. I don't know if you did it, but you dig a hole in the garden. And at that point, I was still playing with diecast, Matchbox and Dinky and Corgi. and I would get 2 fingers and rub the soil so it was hard and smooth, and then so the cars would then go quicker on it. And you got a shine, you compact it down, and you just be there rubbing it with your fingers to get a smooth surface on it. I forgot about that. It's, whoever lives in the house now that I grew up in, if they dig up that garden, there's probably a graveyard of cars and Action Force figures and things like that. So, but no, so yeah, those were the only GI Joes that I had, because after Jedi in '83, Transformers came, and that were it. Everything else just went out the window. Maybe a few Zoids, but we can get back to that. So, out of these things that you have then as a child and you're playing with, was there a favourite? Was the one that you always gravitated back to, or one that was always with you if you went on holiday or if you went out for the day, things like that?
I used to take Hot Rod everywhere. I think it's because a lot of my Transformers I got pre-owned. I got from the boot sales. But I got Hot Rod for new for one of the Christmases.
Right.
Him and Scorponok, I think I got. But yeah, so Hot Rod would always come with me. I said I would always take either Tunnel Rat or Outback from Joe, and I used to absolutely adore and gravitate to the Thundercat Berserkers. We'd have the likes of Hammerhand and Ram Bam, and I used to I don't know what it was about them. I don't know if it's because they had gimmicks. Yeah, most of the Thundercats had gimmicks anyway, didn't they? Whether it be just the arm flicking up but the Berserkers, I think, because they were from the Thundercats movie, which was that 4 episodes, wasn't it? And
was that the season opener movie, or was that the one that came after? Was it the first series or something?
Yeah, this is the one. I think it was what the equivalent of season 2, I think, where they had Linkso, Bengali, Pumira. When they were kind of introduced, and
I think I checked out by then. I mean, I don't even know if I got to the end of the first season, to be fair.
I mean, I didn't realize there was that many episodes. You look back now, and there's loads of episodes.
Yeah, there is.
It's because you only have certain ones on the telly, or I'd only get access to certain ones when I go to the video store. I thought that was it, And doesn't really run alongside each other. No real story here, but
I've still got it, but I'm surprised it hasn't worn out. My Arrival from Cybertron.
Yeah,
that might as well just have been on a loop. On the video recorder, it was just going round and round and round. But you mentioned Scorponok. That's one hell of a figure, is Scorponok.
Yeah, it really was. It was. I'm not gonna lie. I wanted Fort Max, but I was incredibly grateful. I mean, we're talking. When was he released? Was it 88, 89, something like that, wasn't it?
I think it was 88. I think, wasn't it?
Yeah. And I was born in 84, so I was like 4 or 5.
Right.
And so it was a huge present. I think my dad said he went around loads of different random toy stores and eventually found one in some sort of little backstreeted Toy Master.
Right.
And I was incredibly grateful because if suddenly we had this giant robot bigger than everything else, and I didn't know the size difference between that and Fort Max until until things came around again when I started getting back into the figures.
Yeah.
So wow. So obviously I had a Junker Metroplex, and scale wise, I thought, wow, these will do. These are great.
Yeah.
But I did kind of want Fort Max. So I had Headmasters. I had the VHS, and that's one that nearly got worn out. That was I was just kind of on repeat. Although the artwork on those always confused the heck out of me, because we had random Master Force artwork on some of them as well, didn't you?
Right.
And let's just throw some Victory in there as well, and just you're looking at it. It's like, well, none of those were in the episode. They're all on the back of the box.
Yeah. I think that's something that on the toy box artwork can work in its favour. I was speaking to Graham Collector 75 the other week, or maybe in the future, depending on when this one goes out. And that was the thing about the artwork. The toys never looked like the artwork, but the artwork was your imagination's gateway into it. So when you were playing with that toy, it did look like it did on the artwork.
Oh, absolutely! It was a dead ringer, wasn't it? You know, it's like this is it can't get any more real than this.
Yeah, because your imagination there fills in the blanks. You know, then do you have? Is there a memory, or can you remember at what point you started to move on from those, from the toys, the play, I don't mean it, negatively, but those childish things, when you start growing up and moving on to other interests, can you remember when that was and what the last toy that it was you got?
God blimey. It's probably we had primary school, middle school, and high school where I lived, and I think it was probably near in the end of middle school, so I'd have been years 7 maybe. I think I think Joe's were the last ones that I'd play with. I think I used to still interact a lot. I had Prime and Magnus. Obviously, they were die-cast trucks, so you could interact with everything, with like your Matchbox and the Corgi. I don't think we had Hot Wheels then. Obviously, Hot Wheels is a big thing now. I don't think we had. Yeah. It was all kind of Matchbox. But I kind of, I got those. I think I had some Sectors near the end, and then I think my last kind of big push were Muscle. I don't know if you remember Muscle Men.
Vaguely.
Little flesh tone.
Yeah.
Kind of had those, and then I got into athletics, and kind of sport and rugby.
Yeah,
and that's kind of where things went. But everything kind of got boxed up, put away. As again, we had things like the Sega Master System 2 had that came out, and I then traded that in for the Super Nintendo when that came out, which I then traded in for the PlayStation when that came out. So we were suddenly had this huge influx of like games consoles, didn't we? That everybody was trying to compete against each other.
And
I remember seeing those in Toys R Us. I think it was the Master System 2, and that's when you go in and you find yourself gravitating around that area, playing the game, as opposed to beeline and straight for the toy aisle.
Yeah.
And I think, so yes, all games consoles' fault.
No, I understand that. Did you find that? I mean, I don't know if it was your thing. It was roundabout. I'm just trying to equate this now because they changed the whole system. It would have been maybe the back end of first year, so that's year 7, is it now? I think it's year 7 now.
Yeah.
It was back here. That's, I think, when the toy thing started phasing out. But I carried on reading comics because I think that was still a thing for me, reading comics. I don't know if you were the same, if you carried on reading comics as well.
I didn't have many. I used to get used to still get the Turtle comics. My great uncle used to pick me up that was like fortnightly. I think we used to still get that. It was more kind of like the movie novels and stuff, like the graphic novels that would go with the films. I had some of those, and I'd pick up the odd one, like Supernaturals. It's ones I could find at boot sales. Again, you find something, you think, oh, that'd be a good read, and you flick through on that. But I didn't necessarily go out my way to hunt any down. But by that point, I was reading through things like the Chronicles of Narnia and stuff like that, through school. But obviously, we'd carry on reading that at home, and but
an educated gent. I was still on the Beano. I still have my membership card. Don't leave home without it. No, that's great. Is that I think I I was trying to work this out the other day because on Instagram I'm posting the comic covers for the Transformer comic, and I was trying to figure out when it was that I jumped off those. And going by memory of the comic covers, it was a lot earlier than what I thought it was. I thought I jumped off maybe early to mid 200s, but it was actually somewhere round about between the 120, 130 mark. And when I looked at the dates, I was quite surprised that the 120s, I think, were pushing into early 88. And I was really surprised at that. I thought that, it would have been a lot earlier than that. But, I had a brief respite, and then 89 Batman came, and it was just like I just got sucked into the Batman comics.
Oh, yeah. See, that's one of the ones I had the graphic novel for. That was Batman Returns. I had. See, they were good. I mean, I did have some of the Transformer ones, but the Marvel UK, was superb. It was
yes.
As long as you didn't try and tally up what you were reading to what you were kind of watching or remembering from the show, because
but
brilliant comics.
Yeah. Well, I make no bones about that. The Marvel UK comics are my Bible when it comes to Transformers. Again, I would say because I saw the cartoon that infrequently, so that's what I, lent into, is that. So you've moved on then, you're doing whatever you're doing and enjoying yourself and things like that. So when did the collecting become a thing again? What was the circumstances that brought you back around to it?
I didn't start I've always had fads, as my wife puts them. I went through a stage of like collecting loads of DVDs. I'm a big horror movie buff, and I used to have before everything. I think it was still when Netflix was DVD rental.
Right.
So I used to get loads of DVDs in. I used to have a big collection of that. But once I'd got rid of all those, I think we're talking 2000 and probably about 2008. I think it was when I started getting back in again. So I just come out of the police. My son was he born that year? Yeah, he was born that year, my eldest. And it was kind of a therapy thing, I guess. It was kind of a regression. I wanted something that reminded me of good, happy times.
Yes.
And I had there was some forums floating around where you could speak to like-minded fans, and that's kind of how the collecting. It must maybe it was slightly before, but it was on and around that sort of time that it really kind of took off again, and I was like, I like this. This is good.
Yeah.
So, and then it spiraled.
As it tends to do rather quickly.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah.
Right. Well, you know what I'm going to ask you now. Then, what was the toy figure game? What was it that kind of like sucked you back in?
From what I can remember, it was some of the kind of obscurish kind of add-ons. I remember it was kind of the time when things were like Reveal the Shield, and that was it's kind of, was that Universe, wasn't it? I think kind of that sort of era. But we had things like the iGear figures were being released, and there was some of the early upgrade kits, like the Fans Project Parallax kit.
Right.
They're like City Commander, stuff like that. It's like this is genius. This is There's people out there. They're making these add-ons that's making this awesome figure that I've got here. That's all already reminded me of what I used to play with as a kid. And now look what we can do with it. We're turning it into this. And then we got things like iGear, and I got to play around with one of their G2 cone heads, one of the conventions. Most they didn't get released, did they? And And I was like, that then started flooding back the memories of like the G2 stuff in Woolworths, and again like with the Megatron, and it's like, oh, this is a very slippery slope. But yeah, so not necessarily a figure as such. It's more kind of that era. But again, I had Reveal the Shield Hot Rod,
right?
I think it was the Classics Hot Rod. Either way, I had that. Again, we got the upgrade kit for him, which turned him into kind of Rodimus.
Yeah,
and it's like I had Hot Rod as a kid, and I had
right.
the Rodimus figure as a kid that I got from a boot sale. Never had the trailer, but had the tool. It's just kind of really rekindled those childhood vibes, I guess.
Yeah. So there wasn't. So did you like? So your original toys then from childhood, had they gone, or were they gathering dust in a box in the attic? Were you able to then bring them back down and reincorporate them back in, or?
Most of them we sold. When I first moved out with my partner, we needed to put money down on for deposits and stuff.
Yeah.
So my mum hoarded them all. I mean, she had everything.
Right.
So I got rid of a lot of it, but some of it I kept.
Yeah.
I was looking for Hot Rod, see if I have him to hand. I don't think I have. I think I've got to fix his backpack because he took a shelf dive. So he's lasted all this time, and I'm now packing things up for the move to Canada, and I break him. It's like, but some of them survived, but most of it was needs must at the time. I mean, I'm pretty sure every collector out there has had kind of seller's remorse at some point. You sell something and you think, oh, I mean, I sold my Brave collection. I mean, literally all of my Braves, all of my Elder One figures as well. And you look at some of the aftermarket prices now.
Yeah.
If I'd like to get them again, it's like, nope.
No. There is a lot of that. When I came back to it, it was, I think it was the very early days of eBay. And I saw some Transformers on there, and that just kind of like, oh, I've still got mine up in the attic. And I got them down, and it was a case of I put them all to see if they were complete or if they were broken. I repaired them. If some had bits missing, I bought some bits to complete. And then I sold them. And sold them to buy myself an Optimus Prime, because I never had an Optimus Prime as a kid.
Yep.
So I sold my collection to get an Optimus Prime. And that's when it went wrong. What shapes you collecting now? What's your motivations behind, the things that you buy or the things that you get into review? Because, we've got to remember you do the reviews as well. So, so what is it that shapes and motivates that?
It's kind of a half and half situation at the moment. I will get things in that I want for the collection. I normally put like big orders in with places like Shozy and other stores are available, obviously. But there'll be people request reviews for certain things. I've got friends and Patreons and stuff that I know that if I get something in, they'll give me what it cost me to get in. So I'll get stuff in, I'll review it, and things like the Masterpiece, the Beast Wars figures, some of the obscure ones that companies like Fans Hobby are doing. Like what they're doing there, Master Force, aren't they? Things like that. I'll keep that. That's kind of where the collection sits. But the Legend scale one, I mean, I've got what we just had. Don't know if you can see that just come in.
Right. Yeah.
So again, it's Legend scale, tiny little Predacons. But that will be reviewed and then passed on. But yeah, masterpieces. But these are what I remember. These are, again, I think it's because they hit the most nostalgia vibes. I guess, I mean, I know you get companies like New Age and Magic Square that are doing all of these now, but at this crazy compacted size.
Yeah,
which is brilliant. Especially, I've got friends out in China that don't have space. They don't have a lot of room, and we don't have a great deal here compared to like our American cousins in the collecting community. Do we? They show off like the basements and stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, my stuff is cramped. My stuff is crammed in because I'm in the corner of a room.
Yeah. No, I totally get it. I'm up in the attic.
Yep.
And with working from home, half the attic is my office, the other half is my collection. But because it's so small, everything's in the box. So I've had to be clever and do shelving so I can display the boxes. And now and again, I'll get a particular figure out, and then it'll display. At the moment, I've got the old Hasbro hot rod, Rodimus, that I've custom painted. So he's out at the moment. Another couple of days, he'll go away, and I'll get something else out. And you mentioned the Legend stuff. I have a couple of New Age pieces, and the engineering's fantastic on them.
Oh yeah,
I think they're great. But again, it was a hard resist because there were so many good characters coming. I thought, no, I need to, if I could get lost in this. So I've got New Age Agamemnon. No, is it Agamemnon? No, Heinkel. It's the I plumb for the toy aesthetic one. So it's Heinkel. I've got the Optimus Prime in Toy Scream, and then I got the Wymir, or Ymir, or however you pronounce it, the Grimlock in Toy Scream. And then they announced, I think it was the other week, that Sludge is next. And it's like, oh. I mean, I knew it was coming, but it was like, give me a breather. But they are great. They are really good, and but they're expensive.
Yeah, they are. But you're getting such obscure repaints as well with those. Something I don't think we'll ever get with the MPs.
No.
I mean, I'm a huge G2 fan. I mean, I've got a bundle of like Diaclone repaints in with my G2s. I've kind of bundled those into the same pot. But you compare how many companies have given us masterpiece style figures, whether they're all doing the same characters or not. Not that many of them have given us like the G2 repaints, but the ones you're getting with like New Age, you've got like they're toy decos, like you said. You've got an Optimus Prime with the toy head. It looks like I would love that in a masterpiece form. There's some few kind of 3D printed options, aren't there? And you could kind of get Takara did this kind of a toy version of Megatron, didn't they?
Yeah, the 36 plus, wasn't it? They're all chromed out. Yeah.
Or you could get some of the add-ons as well. Add-on kits had that kind of the right head and stuff, but
all 3D printed crotch pieces.
Yeah. But it's not the same, is it? And just you're getting such random repaints, so obscure. But like you said, they're not cheap.
No.
You're paying. Well, the difference between a cheap third-party masterpiece figure now and a higher end legend scale, there isn't a lot between them, is there?
No. They are expensive. I personally do think they're overpriced for what they are, especially when there is so many different repaints coming out. I think I'm just trying to go by. I think it's Robo Lucas has got all the different scheme variations of the Jetfire, the Legends Jetfire that New Age did, and I think there's 5 or 6 different repaints, and it's a great looking mold, but it's just like I get it and I don't get it. It is one of those things, and the Takara things, the Takara ones. It was always understandable them doing the Diaclone colours.
Yep.
I could get that, but the aforementioned MP36 Plus, the Megatron, the toy version they did. I know they did the whole. They give us that new face sculpt for the head to match the toy, but I don't like it. It's when you bring the barrel round to be like round the waist. It doesn't really work. It's not great, but they tried. They tried. I would like to see a toy style head for MP44.
Yeah.
You know, I would like to see that. I did pick up a KO MP44 because I wasn't, the tight Yorkshireman in me wasn't buying an official MP44. It was just far too expensive.
It is, out of all of the figures I've got, I think he is the most expensive one-off purchase, I think. I mean, I know I've got some of the third-party combiners and stuff, but I never bought those all in one go. A lot of these they've staggered the releases and stuff, and I think he is my biggest expenditure. And I have got him transformed up, probably behind me, in his vehicle mode, because I've got the KO stood in robot mode.
Yeah,
so he's got better lower torso, and I didn't have any problems with the knees on mine.
Yeah,
and so it's like
it is a great KO. It's a great KO. Yeah. I mean, I've heard some people say, you know, they complained about the fact that it's not painted, but I think the plastic color is decent enough to carry it off. I picked up 2 because I wanted to try and custom paint one to look like a bit of a cross between the toy and the comic, the Marvel UK comic appearance, and it kind of pulls it off. But yeah, I mean, I know we're diverging a bit, but who cares? I think the KOs are getting better. They are getting better, especially as well when they're addressing some of the issues from the official product as well.
Yeah,
that's the main thing. Because I was reading the other day, I think the KO version of Trailbreaker that's coming out, or slated to come out, apparently it's going to have a bit more diecast content. Well, it's going to have diecast content in it, and it's going to address some issues. I mean, I've had a few KOs in the past before the Prime. I had more recently the Hound, the Hound KO, and it was great. I had no issues with it, but I must admit I did get the opportunity to get an official one on the cheap. So it went, and I've replaced it with the official one. But there was, I think Tiger Tracks back in the day was a KO that I had. I had a G2 KO Sideswipe.
Yep.
You know, mainly because I didn't have that connection to G2, but I liked the color scheme of it. And I liked the sword, you know, the sword and the studs on the wheels and things. You know, they were great. But lost my track now. Where were we? All right, yeah. You might have mentioned this as we've been gabbing on, but what's your favourite piece in your collection at the moment? I'll give you 10 minutes. Have a wander around.
I don't know. I've got some good pieces. I've got a huge thing for Beast Wars. I mean, Beast Wars was kind of the last Transformers I really watched as I was kind of being phased out of the toys and stuff. Because obviously from Beast Wars 96, wasn't it? I think when I was on TV.
About that, yeah.
And then obviously I went from there to watching things like X-Men. I think the X-Men was 97, I think. So so Beast Wars was kind of my last great memory of Transformers up until when I started watching it again with Sammy, my eldest, and he grew up on the Armada trilogy because there was reruns. I think it was like Fox or something was doing reruns of it, and I was like, oh, that's the same. That's the same voice actor that did it in Beast Wars. What's going on here? But so I've got my Beast Wars figures. I've got some of the kind of fans' hobbies take on Armada. I've got their Megatron and their Prime. It's kind of those ones because that's my kind of exit and entry, I guess, for the memories.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, like loads of them are good, aren't they? Loads of them are like I've got, like I said, I've got First Aid. He sits there. He's a desk bot. I sit there and fiddle with him and mess around with him. But those are my go-to. I think if I'm lucky enough to have 2 of a lot of the G1 figures. So I like to have a vehicle mode and a bot mode.
Yeah.
Most of the vehicle modes are the KOs, apart from
Right.
Optimus, and that's the other way around.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I had to sell those, I could just keep one of those. Great. But Beast Wars, I've got 2 of each.
Right.
I've got them all in the beasts, all in the robots, and yeah, that's kind of my go-to. These I can never remember the name of the company. The one that done the big Transmetal 2 Megatron.
Right.
It's not Zhu Zhang, is it? But anyway, yeah, that's probably...
You've lost me on that.
Yeah.
One of the things that's coming out of these chats that I'm having, and the deeper I'm getting into it, I've never professed to be a font of knowledge of things, but I'm starting to realise that I know some stuff, but there's a hell of a lot that I don't know. Whether that's age or whether it's just I've just not paid attention, or I'm just not clued into it enough.
No, there's just so much going on with the fandom. Like I said at the beginning, what a time to be a fan. I know everybody is entitled to moan about something, and not everything is going to suit everybody. But the fact that we could go out and if you like a character, you could get like 40 odd variations of that character. I mean, I started watching is it Earthspark, I think, with my youngest.
Is that the one that's on Netflix, is it?
Oh, no, it's the one that's on Paramount. Paramount Plus.
Oh, is that the new one with Alan Tudyk that's voicing Optimus? Right, yeah.
Started watching that with him, and that's kind of he's only really picked up on Transformers from watching stuff that I've been watching, and he's thoroughly enjoying it. And he started asking questions, and he's now seeing similarities between like Optimus Prime and Megatronic, and then he's now pointing that out in my collection and asking questions. So people critique some of these newer ones because we've been brought up on the older ones, I guess. But what a time! If it wasn't for the things like the Bayverse films and stuff, and these Transformers Prime, what a fantastic show! This big influx of kind of fans have come in, haven't they? And I think it's because of that we're so lucky now to have so much choice.
Yeah.
So if you don't know the name of something, don't ever feel bad. Forget. People have posted pictures and what do you think of this? It's like I have no idea what that is. I don't know.
Yeah. Right, where are we? Okay, so I know you mentioned you're moving, so it may be on hold for the moment. But is there anything that's on your radar at the moment? You know, the thing that's next in line to go on the shelf.
I'm trying to get the rest of these, the MMC G2.
Sorry, Ben, just hold that back up again. Let's just have a. Let me see. That's bigger than what I thought it'd be.
Oh yeah, they're that's the thing. They're all different sizes. I mean, some of the companies that do them and they're all the same size, but they. Which I love. I think it's.
That does look nice, does that?
I'm late to the party. You know, I was. I got these. They were on offer. I think they were in the sale thing on Shozi, and I thought, I'm getting a load of stuff, so I chucked them in. And it's like, wow, these are really good. And then you're looking again, but their G1 versions of these just got a reissue. So I'm hoping that the G2 ones, get a reissue as well. And I'm still kind of hoping that we get the DX9 Stunticons finished, their G2 versions.
Right.
They got like four figures. No, they got 3 figures in, I think, in G2 colors. And they didn't give us Motormaster, and I don't think they gave us Dead End done in G2. And obviously then DX9 folded. But Unique Toys said they would honor and release all of the figures still, but we haven't got those yet.
No. Did X Transbots do the G2 coloured stuff?
Yeah, they did. They did. Yeah, I think I've got some of those. I've got those transformed up. But again, I like the figures, but I like the size that the X9 gave us. I know some of the Takara cars are much smaller figures, aren't they? But
Yeah.
I like that kind of, you know, how they look with, especially alongside Megatron and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I think that's kind of it. Like you said, I've got the move.
Yeah.
Kind of coming, so I'm trying to thin the herd.
Yeah.
So to speak, but there's so much good stuff out there.
There is. I think, but where my collection is at the moment, it's pretty much done. So I'm just either upgrading or buying to replace. Right. So the combiner thing there. Do you have these gaps? Then is there a? I'm going to use the term. Use it. Do you have a grail item? Is there an attainable goal? Purchase goal that you've not got, or if you have got it, what is it?
I don't really have grails anymore. I guess I guess as I've got older and I got jobs and stuff, I guess anything could be obtainable if I budget correctly. And like I said, I'm a toy fosterer, so things would go in. I'd keep it for a while, then I'd sell it on, and to then buy more. Like you said yourself, you sold your original stuff to then feed the addiction. If I'd really love to get a Brave Max again.
Right.
My wife bought me one. This was just I think couple of years into collecting. I think it was. Again, I think I started watching car robots, and somebody was selling one locally, and she picked that up for me. But we sold that years ago. I'd love to pick up one of those, and I'd love to pick up. Going back to my Brave roots, I'd love to pick up a Great Goldran, the Revival Edition. That was just a beautiful, big gold combiner. I've got a thing for combiners. I absolutely adore them. It's just something, especially with Goldran, he always gave me that kind of Predaking vibe.
Right.
A figure that I never picked up that I always wanted to, but I heard horrible things about it anyway. It was the Unique Toys Warlord. It was definitely their take on Predaking, and it used to fall apart on people. It used to just crumble in people's hands. But when it was combined, it's still to this day the closest thing we've ever had to a Call of the Primitives look for Predaking.
Yeah,
that was my kind of introduction to Predaking as a kid. Was that Call of the Primitives episode? And obviously the animation style was completely different. It was done by a different team, and it was superb.
Yeah,
and Unique Toys Warlord looked in my head at the time. It looked just like that. Yeah, people were saying, "Oh yeah, they got it," and it was falling apart, and things were just crumbling, and so I'll avoid that then. But
yeah. There was one I hovered around it for the longest time and never did actually get it, and that was, I can't remember who made it, but it was called Warden. It was like a Fortress Maximus, but like the IDW style one. Like it had the track, the caterpillar tracks on his back.
Was that Perfect Effects?
That's it. Yeah. Because I think you could get him in. Was there 3 color schemes for him or 2? I know there was like the color of the Brave Maximus, and then there was the standard. And I always had a fancy of that, but I never did. I never got it. But it was a nice piece.
Yeah, it was. It was good. It was fun.
Mm.
It was. Sorry, you just reminded me completely of the when you're talking about the older ones. It was. I'm sure it was Graham's channel. I'm sure he had loads of the Crazy Devi stuff on.
Right.
Crazy Devi was like the old add-on kits, wasn't it? And he had I'm sure it was Graham. He had a Predaking set.
Right.
And there was like loads of different bolt-ons, and it was making the G1 Predaking look kind of, at the time, I guess we thought that was kind of animation accurate. They just keep bolting on all of these extra add-on kits and stuff, but I think the add-on kits were like twice as much as what you would pay for the toy.
There was a lot of the early days. There was a lot. I remember. I mean, I believe it's Toy Hacks now, but back then, I think it was called Repro Labels.
Yep.
I got a few stuff from them on the Repro labels, and then there was another one. I was just about to say the name of the website, but I know the guy that run it, a guy called Ken Zemetsky, and he did reproduction G1 parts. And the website is still there. Transrepo, I think it's called. Transrepo. It's still there, is the website. And it's not being updated, but it's still there. So somebody must be paying for that site to still be there on the internet. But it is still there, and you can still click on it and you can still all the parts and things. But I'd heard years back that he became ill and he stopped doing it. But yeah, there was a lot of things out there. You know, these, like I said, you mentioned earlier, the iGears and things like that. I also remember the iGear Seekers. You know, when they did the just the normal ones. Right. So other interests, Ben. You know, outside your core collecting, you know, that collecting focus, whether that be, I don't know, other hobbies or other franchises or other things that you collect that aren't Transformers related. You know, what catches your eye on that side of things?
Masters of the Universe Origins,
right?
At the moment, it just again, that's that childhood nostalgia. I can only collect some of the figures at the moment. I wanted to go in on their Eternia playset, but obviously between the move, I couldn't guarantee I was going to have space for it. So I'm just collecting the odd figure here and now. None of them are displayed; they're all shoved straight in a box at the moment. I'm getting ready to ship those. Same with some of the Thundercats as well. Had some of the Matty ones and got some of the Super 7. And I think that's kind of it figure-wise. Every other penny that I have gets pumped into camera equipment now. So audio, I mean, just because I've got it to... you know, I've been out filming today. Doing something for the uni. We're doing an advertisement for the course. And it starts off kind of like a theatrical car chase and diving out of the car, and then it breaks the fourth wall as we're looking around the university saying, look, these film students are filming this. But that's kind of where my passion is. It's always been in film, but I've never had the time, I guess, or the opportunity to follow it. So that's where we are. We're filming all we can, and we're moving halfway across the world to be where the film industry is as well. So.
Right. No, that's great. I know you mentioned it earlier on, but you said about the horror film thing as well.
Yeah.
Big horror film fan.
I am the film I'm working on at the moment, the short for the uni as well. That's a horror thriller kind of thing. I never have happy endings. I'm a very happy-go-lucky person, you know. But it's just you let your creativity flow, and it's all doom and gloom, and you know it's mine because everybody will be dead at the end. And but yeah, it's probably that horror movie influence. You know, we had being brought up. I was watching Nightmare on Elm Street at my neighbours when I was like 7. So they used to go across the road, and they used to have them on VHS. And we used to watch those, and like the Halloweens, the Friday the 13th, Hellraisers. So I turned out okay.
But movies, a lot of those, like Nightmare on Elm Street, Child's Play, when they first came out, it was all on pirate video. I saw those.
Yeah.
No, taken to the not an ICs, but it's like, oh, so and so's got a copy of Nightmare on Elm Street. Do you want to borrow that? It's like, oh yeah, I'll watch
the tracking's all out, but that's fine.
It didn't matter. It didn't matter. I mean, you may call me a Philistine on this one, but my favorite Halloween film is Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
Season of the Witch,
yeah. I watch that every Halloween. That's my Halloween film. Is that I love that. And another one, which you may or may not have heard of, Dark Night of the Scarecrow.
No, I haven't.
You've not heard of that?
No.
You can watch it on YouTube for free. It is on there, I believe. It is. Yeah, it's on YouTube to watch for free. If you've got time, check it out. It's a made-for-TV movie, but it's great. The storyline is brilliant on it. and it's got now what we consider some heavyweight actors. It's got Charles Durning in.
Mm-hmm.
It's got Marlon Brando's sister in it. You know, there's some named actors, but kind of just on the cusp before they became famous, kind of thing. But check it out. I won't spoil it for you. It is a good film. It is a good film. So we're almost at the end, Ben. Just this part now is just for you to pimp yourself. So I'm going to hand over the reins to you, and you just go for it. You know, promote yourself to the hilt. Tell everyone what you're doing, where they can find you, and I'll sit here and listen.
Awesome. Fantastic. Yep. You can find me on YouTube. If you look up Ben's Collectables, there's Ben's KO Collectables if you do like some dirty knockoffs as well. And why not check out Ben on film as well? They're all linked. When you click on one of the channel, all of them are linked together anyway. Mm-hmm. And that's mainly all student films on there at the moment, but hopefully the start of things to come. We shall see. So...
No, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. Well, thank you. I've really enjoyed this chat. Thank you for agreeing to do it. And I wish you the best of luck on, you know, what your uni work and the film, and also the move to Canada.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. But no, thank you very much, and you take care, Ben.
Thank you very much, mate. Thank you.
Right. All the best.
Thank you for accessing the Collector's Archive. To enable return access, please select the like, subscribe, and notification icons. Transmission terminated.